Welcome to Lay Studio, art classes with sass. My name is Elizabeth and I'm your acrylic instructor. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to be painting an adorable alpaca beach baby. Now, what you may ask exactly is an alpaca beach baby? Well, it is an adorable baby alpaca dressed up in Hawaiian style, fabulous lei, a little plumeria flower on its head out at the beach. I mean, you don't get much cuter than that, alright? Let me give you a quick peek at what we have going on here. This is the basic design with some pre-painting that you will need to achieve before beginning the actual official lesson with me. So, this is what's going to happen. There is going to be a photograph that appears with your preliminary sketch of the baby alpaca wearing the lei and the plumeria flower. You do your best and make it yours, of course. This is a 9x12 canvas, so I recommend you work on this size, sketch it in the best that you can, give it your own little pizzazz and personality. It's absolutely fine. Then you'll have a little bit of pre-painting. You're going to need to use a sky blue and a turquoise to prep the sky and the ocean. Very simple painting. I decided to not take up valuable class time showing you how to do this, but rather let you complete this on your own. I will, however, go over with you just a few methods of how to hold and control your brush, and I'll also go over which brushes to use and the rest of the color palette before we break. When we do take a quick break, you're going to see the photograph of the sketch and then the photograph of the painting partially completed like so you have a basic guide to follow and will be able to prep your canvas to begin the lesson. So allow me to show you what you need today. You will want to make sure you have some great brushes, and when you go to do your preliminary prep, you need to make sure that you have the following: a large flat brush and a small flat brush. The large brush is perfect for filling in larger areas and smoothing out rough spots in your paint. The smaller flat brush is to cut in around delicate areas in your design. And yes, there will be some, especially with the cut-ins around the little floral pattern and motif we have here with leaves and flowers around the ears. It's a little bit tricky, so take your time with that. What you will need to do is just make sure that when you cut in around your drawing, that you are giving enough paint to the canvas. If you leave it partially covered over and not fully, blended in around the edges, what will happen is it will dry, shrink back, and you'll get what I call pinholing, where you see bits of your canvas showing through. So do be sure to give it a really good coat of paint. Now, you do not need to use the small brush to cut everything in, just the small areas. You are able to use the larger brush to cut in around most of it. So, for example, what you will want to do is hold your paintbrush like so while you're painting, right up against the line of what you're painting with the paint. Boom, just like that. Bring it along, cut it in very gently. You can hold the paintbrush at many different angles, like so, okay? Bring it around, fill in nice and tight, and then you smooth out like so, and of course make sure to paint the sides of your canvas. That's very important. I even wrap the image all the way around like so, continued image all the way around. So I recommend you do that. When you have completed that, then you'll want to let it completely dry. Once that's completely dry, you can come back, join me, press play, and we'll get started with all those gorgeous details of our little cutie on the beach. Now, more brushes. Let me show you what you need. We always like to have a bunch of different paintbrushes to work with because you never know what you're going to need in the moment. Things may prove to be a little more challenging detail-wise. I don't want any struggle. So you have those two original flat brushes. Okay, you are also going to need to have a nice big filbert paintbrush as a nice rounded tip. You will also need a small filbert, and I want you to have two rounds if possible, a medium to large size round and a smaller round, not a tiny, just a good moderate sized one. This will help us achieve all of those really great details that we're going to be working with that nice round brush, including those flowers. We really need those. So if you have those, please use as many of them as you can and as you feel you need to, but those are the basics that we need to use today. You also need to make sure you do have a painter's rag. That's very important. It could be a recycled dishcloth or old t-shirt, and a cup of water to work with for your paintbrush cleaning process. This is a very colorful color palette, and I will go over this with you and will reassure you that You can make color substitutions where you need to. If you have to omit something, it is okay. This is your painting process, and I want you to feel like you can personalize it as you need to and not worry too much about which colors you may or may not have. But this is the basic palette for today. Lots and lots of colors. We have black and white. White goes in the middle. It's the best place to work with it. I also have, and this is an example of the turquoise that I used mixed with some sky blue. I kind of custom mixed my turquoise for my water because it was a little dark. You may need to do this. So you can take the same sky blue that you painted up here and mix some of it into a darker turquoise to give it a little bit more of a vibrant, bright color. All right, so I have the turquoise, I have the light blue. We have brown, cream color, which could be an unbleached titanium or any kind of khaki tone. Red, fuchsia, pink, violet, orange, yellow. Then I have a nice deep green and a lime green. That will be for the foliage. So that's the color palette I've chosen. Again, as I say, feel free to make any substitutions you need to based on what you have. Now that you have all of that wonderful information, I would like you to, at this point, to go ahead and pause. Do your preliminary sketch with a good pencil and eraser. It can just be a basic number 2 pencil. Don't worry about getting fancy with that, but be sure you do have an eraser to go with it. Sketch gently at first in case you need to make any corrections. Once you know you have it, you can deepen up your pencil lines, but they don't have to be ultra heavy, seeing as it will mix into your paint a little bit if they are heavy. That's a little drawing 101 for you. Then you'll also want to pre-sketch your little horizon line that goes across here, just under the jaw of the llama. Okay, your little alpaca. So just keep that in mind, okay? Just take a look at where you want to put your horizon line for where the sky meets the ocean. Put that in first, and you'll be good to go. Once you have done so, go ahead and work on painting in the sky and the ocean. Once that's fully dry, come on back. We're gonna have a lot of fun painting this beautiful alpaca beach baby. See you soon. Welcome back. I have opted to zoom in your basic view here so that you may see a little bit closer and a little bit in higher detail what we're painting today. Just since it is fine detail and a bit of small detailing, I decided to just make it a little easier for you to follow. You won't see much of me from here on out, but you'll certainly hear me, so yeah, should be fun. Let's see what we do today. All right. Now, let us begin with the little cutie here. We need to get started with our baby alpaca. And I want to begin up at the top up here with the ears, and I will be using the smaller sized filbert brush to begin by picking up some brown on my paintbrush, and I want to go ahead and fill in the inner ear with brown. Just kind of skim that in there. I'm putting it on pretty thick. Mine is a little bit more translucent, like a transparency here that I'm not entirely happy with at the moment, but I can always give it 2 coats. So really work with it based on what your paint is doing. If it's a heavy pigment, you don't have to worry about giving it 2 coats, but in my case, I do. See how I hold that paintbrush and just kind of turn it at the angle I need it based on where I'm going within the frame of the drawing. Like so. Now, with the dirty brush, I'm going to take some of that unbleached titanium or tan color, cream color, whatever you've come up with to use. Mine is unbleached titanium. And I'm going to go ahead and begin the outer part of the earlobe with a dirty paintbrush. And you get kind of a cool effect this way, where the two colors kind of mix together. Just allow it to go however it does. Don't worry about controlling it too much. Give it kind of a choppy little brush stroke feel since it is fuzzy. Fuzzy wuzzy was this beach baby. Coming up the other way, and then back down. The great thing with a smaller filbert like this is it has a good tip to it. You can really get into the points of things and around the curves. And again, I'm just using a dirty brush, kind of custom mixing off to the side to get the blend that I want. Play around with it, see what you like. Something like so. And go ahead and do the same thing to the other ear. We want to move right along. I don't want to feel like I have to spend too much time on any one element because we have a lot of detail to get to, and this is going to be a little bit more on the slightly abstract side. We're not going full-on sharp detail, or obviously not photorealistic here, but we are doing something cute and stylized with a lot of cute color variations and some choppy brush strokes to show texture and movement and line and form, all those great things that you can practice in this lesson. And I think you'll really love it. It's going to be so cute. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead with a little bit more brown in a few little places here and just give it some more color blending right into that wet on wet blending with some choppy brush strokes, just so it's not too smooth and perfect looking. I want it to be fuzzy wuzzy. Wuzzy? Really? In this case, I think this is a she. It's a girly. You can see I'm playing with that color texture. Just wiggling my paintbrush in the wet paint, doubling up the colors one after the other, custom mixing as I go, and that kind of works for me. I like the way that looks. Very cute. And I'll do a little bit more of that over here. I don't want it perfectly smooth, texturally speaking, or color pattern-wise. I'm gonna break it up a little bit, have some fun. Just with the tip of the brush, really. Hold it up on its tip and just play around with that until you get it the way you like it. And then I can go back and just put a little finesse to those brush strokes if I need to. We have ears, my lovelies. Still more details to go on that though. And I'll show you in a moment what I mean. Just gonna kind of work that back slightly with a clean, damp paintbrush and just kind of go in and play with those brush strokes a little more. All right, now I need to give another quick coat of brown to the inner ear on mine. You may not need to, so you can just hang on a moment while I do. Take a brush cleaning break, rinse out your brushes, get them prepped. I recommend never leave your paintbrushes out of the water uncleaned because acrylics dry really fast, and before you know it, you'll have a nice paintbrush all set up with paint you can't remove. So use caution with that, especially if it is a warmer day. There we go, that looks a lot more like the way I like it. I will be doing more to the ear, but not immediately. I'm moving right along. Nice and thick. There we go. Yeah, like that. Okay, now I'm going to pick up the larger filbert brush to work in a little bit more where I need to go, like so. All right, let me show you. We're going to go ahead and grab the unbleached titanium color, kind of creamy color here, and start pouncing with the paintbrush around. And if you need to be careful here, just use the tip of it to cut in. Okay, of course, use caution when doing that. If you need to switch paintbrushes, feel free to do so. And I'm going to give it kind of a bumpy edge here because it is fuzzy. I don't need a sharp edge. See how I do that, kind of holding it up on its edge and pouncing along. Fleecy and cutie. I'm also doing the same thing around the inner part of the head here, right near the ear. I'm using quite a bit of paint. I want to get that gorgeous little fluffy dew on here. This cutie has character. Now I am going to switch paintbrushes. Using that smaller size filbert, I'm going to cut in right along here on the side of the head, right up against the plumeria flower. Like so, and then just pouncy, 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 pouncy. Like that. Bring it around. Pouncy, 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 pounce. Going for some raised texture here. So adorable. I'll pop my paintbrush sideways this way. For you, you would be approaching it like this. Well, let me see if I can do that. I'll do it the natural angle, just standing beside my camera view here. Like this, and pounce out the side using that brush. I'm still using the smaller filbert for this just because I have it ready to go, and that will work for me along the edge. Little fuzzies coming off the side. And just pounce in the rest of the cute little hairdo, the fleece dew here. Just the upper portion right to the forehead. We're going to change things up a little bit as we get further down the face. So we don't want to get too far along and then get lost in the process and lose details, so that's why we do it like this. Now I'm going to add a second coat up here along the top of the head. I feel like it's a little too translucent and I'm seeing sky through that, and I don't want that, so I'm just going to pounce one more time. Clean that all up, make it look good. Oh, it's so cute. Look at that. Now I do need to take that smaller filbert one more time and cut it against the plumeria right here. And just scrape a little paint off my big filbert, clean my filbert, the larger one, make it nice. Fabulous. Okay. Now we're going to do some textural work with the fleece on the head. And for that, I'm going to pick up the larger sized round brush that I have, this medium one. And I'm going to go ahead and use, to begin with, we'll do the shadows. So I'll pick up some brown right on the tip of that, and I'm going to start pouncing brown, like so, right into wet paint. Kind of go in patterns with it if you feel like you'd like to. We're making the shadow divots inside the fleece, giving it some dimension. A few places leave it a little bit darker. Play around with it a little bit. Bouncy, 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 bounce. Okay, so I'll leave it about like that, and now I'm going to pick up the color white and do the highlights. Switch it up a little bit. Going to pounce with this too. You can cross blend your colors, have a little fun with that. Now, I don't necessarily want it to look so stippled like this, so I'm going to flatten my brush out and just work the white parts in a little bit more, giving the highlight a little bit of a softer application. You see how sweet that looks? It blends, it makes a great blend of colors too when you mix it all in. Then I'm going to also take and add little hairs, like so, with the tip right up on the tip. Make them chunky, make them funky. Up toward the fuzz at the top of the head. You can also use the unbleached titanium or cream color for this as well. Pulling some off the side of the head as well. Little wispies, like so. I'll just throw a few little brown ones in there too and let them mix in where I need them. Now we need to go back and continue working the ears. So the hairdo on top of the head is so cute and fuzzy and wispy and hairy. We're going to do the same to the ears, my lovelies. Oh yes, we are. I am going to pick up my filbert, and I'm going to, the smaller filbert that is, and I'm going to start putting a few hairs inside the ears. And they're kind of like the little tufty furry hairs inside here, so they're kind of, using the tip of the filbert, I'm just using the unbleached titanium right now, and I am pulling that along. You want to reapply your brush frequently and have a smaller amount on there, kind of work it off so you have a sharp tip. this to both ears. Okay, now I'm going to go back and add white as well. Cleaning my filbert, smaller filbert again. I'm just going to add a few white ones too, like, keeping the color pattern very similar to the rest of it. This will give the highlight, make them a little bit longer. Just quick little flicks of the wrist through the fingers. Now, a little brown there too, just to tone that out. That was a little bit brighter than I meant. But that works too for the top of the ears. So the ears are going to have the same treatment, and right now I'm working with that custom kind of creamy light brown. And I'm fuzzying up the tips and tufts around the ears themselves. The earlobes need some fuzz. So cute. And then I'll go back with a clean paintbrush and I'll do the white highlights. Really playing with that. Oh, they look so adorable. If you get nice fuzzy like that, that's what we want. Going to go back and just touch up a few of them. They were too thick in a few places. I can just tone that out and add a slightly toned down, the lightened up brown. Do a custom mix that's just with the unbleached titanium and brown until you get a lighter kind of tanny, kind of creamy brown. All right. See how easy that is? And so fast. So quick. Okay, now. Moving right along. It is time to begin doing a little bit of shading here on the face. Now the face we're going to work a little bit more carefully because we need to be more cautious with what we're doing. Okay, moving right along. We need to move on and start working on the shading on the face to start making that look realistic for the tonal work. Need to be careful with that, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. We'll use the smaller filbert brush to get started. I'm going to pick up brown and I'm going to work a shadow right underneath the fleece at the top of the hairdo here, the fleece do. And I'm going to put brown right under here. Kind of wiggle that down a little bit so we don't have any sharp edges right here. Right into the bridge of the nosy. And I'm also then going immediately back to pick up black paint on the tip of my paintbrush and just kind of work that in right under the dew, right here. Like that. You always want to blend the lines too. You don't want to leave a sharp unblended line. So I'm going to go back and fix that by picking up brown and just kind of going over and skimming this right here, bringing it down, blending it out. Right, so down this line right here, and right down the middle. Like that. And then we do a little bit of highlighting to it since we have a good shading base. And I'm going to be a little more fancy with this. Right about the tip of the bow of the nose right there, I'm going to add a little bit of black as well. Right here. And then bring that around like so. Give it a little character, a little definition. Super cute. Bring that back up around here, kind of frame out the eye area, like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and pounce to either side of the center part. I'm going to pick up the cream color and just kind of that unbleached titanium, and with the same brush I'm going to pounce the cream right along here, the outer edge of the nosy, the bridge of the nose. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Highlight it away, and then add a little extra brown, pouncy, 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 pouncy right to the middle with a dirty paintbrush. And pouncy up a little bit too, right into that black shadow. Really, really adorable, easy to do, fun work. Give a little bit more pop to the brown, little dirty brush with a tiny bit of black, bring that right down here. Just kind of play around with the shading a little bit. Give the nosy a little bit of character. Cute nose. Alright, now I'm going to frame out the upper eyelid area to the right with brown. A little bit of black. That area will be a little bit more in shadow. I'm going to clean that line back slightly, like so. Working a little brown underneath that eye. See, I'm moving on real fast. Not lingering too long because we have a lot of detail to cover, and really we don't need to muss and fuss with this too much. We're just going to get these elements in place, blend them out, make them look great, and move right along because we have so much to cover. I am going to do a little pouncing right along here. Boom, 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 pouncy, pouncy, pouncy. That was a little too damp. Just watch out for that as you wash your brush frequently. Sometimes that happens even to the best of us. I should say those of us who've practiced for over 20 years. It can happen. So just kind of pouncy, 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 pounce. There we go. Adding a little bit more fun right there. Okay. Alright, now with this I am extending the black. I'm making heavy eyelashes. Like so. Big old diva movie star like lashes. I'm adding brown up here on the lid. And then I'll come back with some unbleached titanium and give a highlight to the lid area as well. Like so. Work that off if it's too much, just working that back off my paintbrush. I'm going back and just kind of blending that in slightly into whatever wet paint is left. See, it gives it a little pop of a highlight right there. A little something cute to work with. Blending it in to the black and working it back. This is a shadow. It doesn't look like it's, you know, wearing eyeliner here. Like so. Okay, now I'm cleaning my paintbrush and I'm moving right along. I want to finish this eye and then move on to the other one. So I will be picking up brown and I will begin filling in the big round iris with brown to start the whole thing. And then I'll pick up some black before I reach the bottom lid and skim that along here. Big, soulful, cutie patootie eyes. I am leaving a little brown highlight right there on purpose. I will go back with a clean brush and add more brown right there. Like that. So adorable. Now I'm picking up the smaller of my two round brushes. I'm going to put black right on the tip. And I'm going to very carefully come in here and just fill this area in with black as well. Clean up that line a little bit. Right here. And up here. I'm just going to kind of guide that along. Mixing up kind of an off gray with a little bit of unbleached titanium and black on the brush. Just kind of a neat, like, warmer gray tone to work on the eyelid like so. And then down here, the lower lid, we're going to use the same round brush. I'm going to work this area right here. I'm going to put a little bit of unbleached titanium under the lower lid. Like so. And then I'll be blending brown into that while it's wet. Wet on wet blending is a great trick. A really great artistic tool. When you master that, you can paint anything. I'm just bringing this little shadow of brown down a little further, kind of work it out, wiggle it out. You can leave a little texture showing, it's okay. All right. I'm going to take a little bit of the unbleached titanium and I'm going to mix a little bit of brown into it just to kind of mix in that kind of light khaki brown. Keep that going. I'll do a little bit more to that upper lid. You see how fast that is? It just, all of these little details, even though they seem a little bit daunting at first, once you get going, they're really not that difficult to achieve. Okay, little accent marks on the upper lid, and then I'm going to clean damp paintbrush, just blend them in a little bit so they're softer, draw them out a little bit further, interconnect them a little, and that will be that for the upper lid. Okay, I'm going to let that set for now and move along. I'll work a little bit more of this kind of lightened up brown in here so I don't have any broken edges that I need to fill in later. It will help using that. Maybe a little more brown. Just kind of touch this cheek area up right here. Little cheeky. Cheeky little cutie. And then I think I'll draw with the tip of my paintbrush. I'll pull that paint right around, making that shadow come around here and kind of fade out under the chinny chin chin. Little cutie. Just like so. Now I'm at a place where I feel like I can leave it. I will clean damp brush some of this though, so again, I don't have any sharp lines left behind. It's always good to do that if you're going to move along. And a little drip of water got in there. We just use your fingertip if that ever happens and just kind of move that out. But that did do what I wanted it to do, which is just to soften the color so I don't have any hard lines showing. And now I can move on to the other eye. The other eye is not in shadow, so the definition will be very precise, and it won't be as dramatically shaded, but I am going to go ahead and start the black here in the middle of the eye, the iris. I want to start that in. I'm going to leave a highlight right here on this side of it for brown, like so. And another little brown highlight in the corner of the eye as well. Make that all in black. Alright. Always good once you get the eyes in place. That's very important as an artist when you have something that has eyes to get those done. So the soul of the painting is staring at you. Alright. Putting brown in where I need it. One side or the other. Cleaning that up a little bit. Hi, I thought I'd pop in and say hi. How are you all doing? I hope you're having a great time. I know I am. This is a lot of fun. Remember to share your work with me on social media. I'll just take a little moment here and pop in and say hi to you and mention that. I have I have Facebook and Instagram. You can find me at laystudio.class on Facebook, and please share your process images, your selfies, and your finished paintings. I will post them in my special online photo album for student works. That's at laystudio.class. You can find me there, and I'm at lay_studio.class on Instagram, where you can do the same thing. Hashtag #LayStudioClass, hashtag #LayStudioClasses, hashtag #LayStudioArtClasses. Yay! And if you haven't subscribed with me yet, I am offering a great deal on that as well. It will be $50 per month, which is a really great savings. It's a major savings, actually. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe. If you're among the first 10, which you will be, because I have 1 subscriber as of yet, so help me out. At least at the time of filming this, which was in late June of 2020. So if you want to help me out, reach the goal of 10th subscriber, I will be doing a raffle of an original painting. So keep that in mind if you are renting with me today. And if you have subscribed, well, thank you so very much. You are keeping Lay Studio going, and I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to duck back out of the camera view and continue. Bye-bye. Now, I am going to continue with a little bit of work around the eye. I feel like if I see uneven lines, I just need to clean those up. So I'm going to bring a little black right here connected to the brown, and voila, that's much better. Fill that in a little bit. Okay. I am going to now do the little wing of the cute eyelash pattern with black. Alright, now I just ran a little line of that underneath the eye. I'll clean that back slightly. Clean, damp brush is your friend. Now I'm going to pick up the unbleached titanium and work that right under the eye. Allowing it to blend in with the black, creating a soft gray tone. I'll bring that around the inner corner of the upper part of the eye right here. Really meticulous work here, just with the tip of that brush. Alright, now that I have that, that works. I'm going to take a touch of brown. I'll put a little bit of brown up here. Yeah, this is all with that medium size round brush. Cut in around the plumeria with the brown. This is just a very light skimming of the color. Mine was fairly translucent, so I can get away with that. Be gentle with your color application. Work that around, like so. And then I'll go and take unbleached titanium, start working that up slightly right in here. Painting that around part of the under eye as well. I'm going to grab a little bit more unbleached titanium right along here. That outer lower corner of the eye, I'll bring that around. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more unbleached titanium and just give it a little bit of a cute little creased look right along here, a little texture. Lines right here just to suggest the folds of the eyelid. I am having such a good time painting this little cutie. Oh my goodness. That is such a character. For me, painting is very therapeutic. I've always loved it. It helps me just stay calm and focused and centered. So if you ever start feeling uncomfortable or, you know, just a little pushed to try to get these details done, remember you can always pause this, take a little break, come back, stretch, make sure you drink some water, walk around a little bit, then come back to it. I don't ever want my students to feel like burdened by the steps or uncomfortable in the process, so take your time. Enjoy this. This is your artistic process. See, I'm building out the colors here with a little bit of brown, going back and forth with my color brush strokes here. And you can see here where I want to go ahead and touch up the black. This little alpaca looks like it has like really cute diva eyes, as I was saying earlier. A little extra wing there, having fun on a beautiful beach day. This cute baby alpaca, just catching some sun, wearing a beautiful lei and a plumeria flower, enjoying the waves. It's a good day. Alright, I'm starting to like the way this looks. I am going to go back and just, again, one more time, another pass through. This is important, getting those details right, and I'm doing just little dotted lines around the eye, upper lid here with the unbleached titanium. Again, we want it to look fuzzy and kind of soft and sweet, so I'm gonna just accentuate that a little bit before I move on. Now, touch up the side here with the brown, and then I'm moving right along because time is a-ticking, my lovelies. I will do the highlights and the eyes later. Right now I need to move on and start working on the rest of the details of the face because we have a lot to do, my dears, a lot to do. Alright, now I'm just going to leave the black on my paintbrush like so and pick up some brown, cut in around the nosy right here, and bring that down around, tracing around the button part of the nose, and leaving it like so, bring it right around here. And then up into the nostril area, I'll paint some black. Like so. And now what I'm going to do is mix up a really soft gray again, and I want to paint the little front part of this, so I'll take a little bit of the, again keeping with the warmth of this character, I want to go ahead and keep the unbleached titanium for the moment to make the gray, so I'll take black and unbleached titanium together, and that'll create a warmer gray. It will help a lot with what we're doing. And I'm going to work right under the little nose area right here, and bring that in. Cute little gray patch right here. Yeah, I'll touch up that nostril right here with the little line with black, and then I want to trace underneath here with black as well. So. Give it a little sweet smile. Okay. Feel free to name your alpacas too. Now I'm going to pick up some more unbleached titanium and just sort of work it out to the rest of the upper lip area. like that, and pick up a little more gray just to blend. And I'm going to take some white and unbleached titanium together apart and do the upper part of the tip of the nosy. I'm going to come up here, a little bright spot. And then I'll pick up a little bit of black, more of the black on my brush. This is going to be requiring some wet on wet blending, so don't be afraid of that. I'm going to then pick up the unbleached titanium again on the dirty paintbrush and just play with this a little bit. I really like where this is going. Looks really sweet. And I'm also going to pick up a tiny bit of white here on the tip of my paintbrush. Bring a little more unbleached titanium right here where I missed a little spot there and just fill that in. Putting a little unbleached titanium highlight to the inner side of each nostril. And then I'm going to darken that up a little bit more with a touch of black on the tip of my paintbrush, just to kind of do it just a quick, I'll mix that even a little bit darker gray even into the custom gray I already have, just a touch more black. That will help out a little bit just to kind of deepen this up slightly right here, a little bit darker without making it solid black, because we still want a difference between the nostrils and the nose. The tip of the nose. Great little dot pattern, looks really cute. Now we have a really cute nose in place. I'm going to take a little bit of unbleached titanium just around here. I'm going to switch paintbrushes now and use the smaller round paintbrush to do the little chin. I'm going to paint that in very carefully. And again, I'm going to use some of that gray mixture which was the unbleached titanium with black, and I'm going to do the center part here with more of a deep gray and bring it around like so, kind of in a half circle, meeting the bottom of the chin right there, bring it up like so. And then I want to actually use the color white to do the rest of the lower chin. Kind of blend that with the gray a little bit on the edges of it. Pick up a little bit of gray onto the white, like so. Any touch-up I need to do, I can do at this point, just to clean off my brush, wipe it off on my rag gently. And with a round brush, you always want to, you want to roll it on the rag. There we go. That. Pull a little off there, a little bit of a drip. Leave it about like that for the moment, let it set for a second. Now, I'm going to start working, I will come back and do a little touch up on some of this, right? But I'm going to start working back up here again. Pull in a little bit of white paint right here, just kind of washing it on there, a little wash of white. And just kind of do little spots on here for a highlight. Bring that out here. And then I'm going to move right along because we need to do a lot more work here. So I'm going to start working on the rest of the face now. And I'll switch back to the smaller filbert for that. I really want to frame that all in and start moving on. We have a lot of detail to catch up with. So unbleached titanium, just kind of work this in here. Little wispy brush strokes. I'm going to pop out the side of the face. Like so. And grab some white. And a messy brush stroke it. Messy, 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 pouncy, pouncy, pouncy. This, bring it around, along here. And I might pick up a little bit of brown and just do a little bit of a layer of brown in here for a shadow. Underneath here, bring it to the mouth area slightly. I'll work that back a little bit to about there. And then I'll add more unbleached titanium. Here. Pick up some more white. More unbleached titanium. Just kind of messy brush it in here, right to the line that you have for the lower chin. Any stray lines you can always correct. I'm working quickly with the brush strokes here, so we need to be paying attention to that and just know that on occasion you have to go back with a clean damp brush and clean up any lines that pop out that you don't need, like that. I'll bring brown right around underneath the little chin. And I'm putting a line of brown underneath the chin right here with a round brush. The smaller of the round brushes, just to kind of delineate where I'm going. I need to make that very clear. Get that right on there. Soften that out again to not leave any blunt spaces left behind. We want it nice and soft. Okay, moving right along. I'm going to find that I need to put on a little bit more unbleached titanium right here, but out the side of the face a little bit. Remember, soft little breaky lines with the tip of the paintbrush. Make it look fuzzy. Cutie fuzzy. And then brown mixed right into that. For the shaded side, this is the side of the face in shadow, so we'll have a little bit more brown right here. A little bit more brown right along here. Make the little nose area pop. We want the muzzle to really stand out. And that just makes the whole thing pop. So cute. Mushy little texture right along here. And that side of the face looks about right to me. I'm going to leave it like that. And then move along to finish the other side of the face. As you can see, I'm pushing fast here. You guys take your time. Pause when you need to catch up. Do what you need to do to make your project work. For my purposes, to make sure we're sticking to a good time frame here, I'm just speeding up my brush strokes a little bit. But you get the general idea, and you can go back and re-watch it if you need to. And then custom mixing with brown and unbleached titanium right along underneath the eye area, making that look more natural. A little bit darker brown right here. But again, with a dirty little paintbrush and the choppy little brush strokes. This is like a little break in the pattern right here where it's a little bit tighter to the face. It's smoother under the eye. It wouldn't have as much fleece. So what I'm doing right here is I'm kind of blending a soft spot under the eye right here. It's a little less fluffy looking and a little more smooth. And then we're going to bounce right back out to fluff. Fuzzy, fuzzy, fleecy. Brown down here, just to give it a little color variation, a little shading, cute little characteristics in the fleece pattern. More unbleached titanium up on the cheek area right here. Streak that a little bit more too, just to lighten that up and give it a bit of a highlight. My brushes are drippy today. Apologize for that. Sometimes it happens when you're working quickly. Make sure you're brushing your brushes off, so to speak. Brush them off. Make sure they are really, really dry before you move on. Okay, so I have it like that. I'm going to do a little bit of a unbleached titanium and brown mix right here, right up to the side of the nose right there. And work that in. Cutie, cutie, cutie. A little bit of black here just to kind of accentuate that break on the nose, side of the nose. And I'm really liking the way this face is looking. It's so cute. I'm leaving a brown shadow underneath the plumeria flower, and in fact I'm going to go back and just touch that up a little bit with a little more paint right here. All right. Gentle pressure now. I'm going back with just a touch of white with really gentle pressure. I'm really accentuating the look of fleece. Fuzzy, fuzzy fleece right around here. And then I'll pick up unbleached titanium right here and do the same thing. Different directions. Make sure you're going in different directions with your paintbrush. Turn it, bounce it around. Get natural contouring, and I'm going to go back underneath that chin one more time and accentuate the shadow to pop the little chin out. Like that. It makes it look dimensional, like it has something going on there. I'm going to pop right out of that canvas to come give you a little hello. Say hi, give you the little alpaca smile. Make you happy. Happy alpaca. So cute. And I'm going to add a little bit of a white highlight for emphasis, the tip of my paintbrush right here, just to kind of give a highlight right in the corner of this eye underneath here. A little bit of a highlight in the fleece. That being the tight fleece right up against the face. All right, under the eye. No fuzzy there, just, or no fluff, I should say. Probably a bit of fuzz, but not fluff. But my paint is fighting me there. There we go. All right. More white right here. Okay, moving along, I'm going to go right down to the neck now. This is where we need to be a little more careful and discerning with where we're going. So just to, follow along, we'll kind of do some unbleached titanium cutting in around, we can always do a fuzzy edge, which is great. That helps break up the edge right here. But paint in around your flower. If you do happen to get a little unbleached titanium on the flower petals or leaves, don't stress about it. That's totally okay. So you'll still be able to see your pencil lines. They're pretty heavy, and this is such a delicate color. You'll still see through it. I'm just going ahead and cutting all of that in right now, painting it in real fast with unbleached titanium. You can see I'm giving a real good quick skim of color. We need to finish our alpaca and move on to flowers because those details will take a little extra time. And I have simplified the technique for this one though, so we're not going for ultra realism here. This is just a stylized look, but you'll still get the look of like orchid flowers, which is what my idea was, little orchids. Really cute. I'm bringing this right along here. You can pop off the edge, which is totally fine. I'm painting it around some of the flowers. Don't forget to do that. If there are empty spaces where there are gaps, make sure that you are cutting those spaces in. I'm going to actually turn my canvas sideways. I know that might look a little odd at the moment, but it makes sense when you think about it. You're welcome to do this. It's ergonomic and it's a great way to catch the bottom edge of your painting right here. I've fully painted mine in with turquoise along the bottom, so I'm not too concerned, but I still need to catch this bottom edge with the unbleached titanium and make it look natural right here. So I'm just, again, using the tip of that little filbert brush and just cutting right in around where I need it. Little fluffy edges. Right up here, fluffy, fluffy, fluff. Little fuzz off the edge of the neck. And that should do it. Now we can do the fun shading. Alright, so that's real quick. We're just going to come in here. I'm grabbing brown right under the chin area with a dirty brush. I'm painting with brown and a neat little color pattern too, just to give it a little natural looking shaded variation to the fleece. You see how quickly I wiggle my paintbrush. It's a wiggle pounce, wiggle pounce, wiggle pounce. You can turn it in different directions, work different angles, really working hard to get that on there quickly. I'll put a little bit of black on here too, like a little gray tinge right here at the under the chin area right there, just a little bit, touch of it. And just kind of work that in too, just to blend it off the brush. And now I'm going to pick up more unbleached titanium, and I'll grab some white and start pouncing that on there for the color variations and the fluff in the fleece. Really fast, leaving open spaces, of course, so you can see the unbleached titanium showing through, a little brown show through. Just a quick pounce all the way down the neck. Little brown, a few places. Just blend it right into the wet paint. Wet on wet, wet on wet. Really great technique. And our little alpaca has really come to life here. One of the details we have to do to the alpaca before we move on and do the rest of this is to make sure that we get the highlight in the eye. We'll be doing that. Both eyes need a little highlight. So before I move along, we shall do that. Take your smaller round brush, get some white right on the tip, and let's make some sweet little highlights in the eyes. And a neat little trick I'm going to do to give them just a little bit more pop and a little bit more pizzazz. We're going to not only do the white highlight, but we're going to add a little bit of color to that highlight area too. Just a touch blended into some of it so it looks like there's a little reflection happening there with the color. Really beautiful big glassy eyes with a reflecting color, and that is just a gorgeous trick when you're painting, especially if it's a critter as cute as this one. So get a nice big highlight, like that, and a little tiny accent one. Now you should have your sky blue aside here still. Just reconstitute it, add it to your white right on the tip of that brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of blue and just kind of pounce some of that into the white highlight. Gently, giving it a little tinge of color. And I'll do the same with the turquoise as well. Same dirty brush technique. Cute, tropically toned highlight to the eyes. I might do the same thing down on the little lower one, which is the dirty paintbrush right here, and just kind of accentuate those, make them look really cute. Colorful highlights. Since the eye is mostly black and a little bit of brown, it just gives it a really sweet, customized look. It ties in with the rest of your painting. It looks adorable. I love it. I'm going back with a tad of white right here on this one, just because I feel like I don't want to overpower the basic look of the highlight itself. Yeah. And just pop this curve out a little more. Just stand back and take a look at my work. You can feel free to do the same. This one's slightly hidden under the line of the eyelash line, so I'm not too concerned with the full circle effect around that one, but with the other one I need it kind of rounded around. I'm just blending it in a little bit more. And I'm going to, on this right eye, where it is tucked up underneath the eyelash line, I'm taking black on the tip of my paintbrush and I'm just going to kind of clean the line up. Just a second, there we go. Run that black back around again too, where it wasn't quite so dark around the eye while I'm at it. And just kind of touch up the way that looks on the highlight. There! Oh, I love that. Okay, now I am going to just fix this. I'm a perfectionist and want to make sure I get that just so. That looks really sweet. Now we're moving on to the plumeria flower, my lovelies. Llama is, for the moment, till we check things at the end, is complete. I just want to make sure we don't overdo anything and leave no time for flowers. So, moving right along, my lovelies, right along. I'm going to pick up white and begin painting in the plumeria flower with a base of white to begin. Each petal just going quickly through. This will help with color blending, you'll see. Okay, now I'm going to pick up some orange. And I'm going to begin. Notice how I'm leaving a little bit of a white edge showing on each petal as I go around. Has a kind of a pinwheel fan look to the shape of the flower, so you can kind of play with that. Okay, I'm going to get that started. And then I'm going to take yellow and go around those. It's a really quick, cute plumeria style. So then, looks a little chunky and choppy right now, right? Well, it won't when we pick up white and we go back and we accent with white. Okay, that's going to be a really cool blending trick, kind of color glazy and cute, and we'll have a really sweet plumeria ready to go. Just that fast, in under 5 minutes. I think. Not really watching the timer, but it should be. And if it's too faded out, we go back, pick up a little pop of the other colors. Now they'll blend in beautifully. We have a little start to that. Work them in where we need them. plumeria is on point. And so quick, so easy, just quick blending. And some white and layering and just going back around. Play with those colors, and I like it like so. I like it like that. And then we're going to do the center of the flower in just a moment. We'll paint that in with brown. Now I'm leaving a few bold spots in the orange, but I'm still going to blend them slightly so they don't look like streaks of chunky color. Just kind of work it out a little bit. And it gives a little color variation throughout the flower. And that's going to be good. Now I'm going to take brown and paint the center of the flower in with brown. And I'll put a little bit of an orange heart to that. Kind of blend it in. Now I might just take a little bit of this and put a little shadow here. Working around where the shadows need to go. Oops. Ah, it's okay. Easy fix. Okay, one last little blend. And that should do. Yeah, I like it. I can work with that. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and start working on the fillet immediately. It needs to be dealt with. Again, we're going to keep the painting style really loose and simple for that. Not going to be ultra detail, just kind of soft blends and really fast, kind of like we did with that plumeria, which I'm still fiddling with because can't leave it alone. That's cute. Okay, moving right along, I promise. Okay, now here we go. Let's see, I think we should do, to not get lost with what we're doing with the flowers, I'm going to go ahead and cut in and paint in all the leaves. And I'm going to use the same brush, starting with deep green. I'm going to go around and delineate where my leaves are, which you should also do. I'll start with deep green. Again, same quick technique, just go through, fill them in. I have a bit of water in my paint right now, just a touch, keeps it flowing quickly. We are going to add some dimension to those just with some shading, but don't worry too much about making them look, you know, as I said, this is kind of stylized and fun, so don't worry about making them look perfect, just get them in and filled in. Just cleaning up my little edge there. Alright, and let's see, I think I have a couple more around here. I have one right there and one right here, so I don't get lost. I'm just marking where they are. Another one right here. There's one right here. Now that the base to the leaves are all painted in, I'm going back now and I'm going to use lime green as a bit of a highlight and make them cute and poppy. I'll leave a little bit of the original green showing, of course, for effect. And of course, keep in mind if it isn't quite right, we can always go back and add more of that deep green, which I will be doing just for my purposes, for just a nice blend. Now just with a dirty paintbrush, I'll go back and do another tone on there with that mixed up a little bit of the two greens to be perfectly exact. I'll do a little lime green with a little bit of deep green and just kind of play with that, make it look smooth and pretty. More lime green to the tip of this one, just for a pop of color. There it goes. Look at that, like butter. I love it. Okay, that's looking the way I like it. Alright, that's about it. I'm going to touch up one leaf that I see I need to work on a little bit more, and then I'm moving right along. And we're going to paint in our flowers. the orchids to the lei. That's more like it. I see a little spot down here too. It's a little patchy, a little translucent green there. Just fill that in. There we go. Now we're going to play around with the rest of the colors. We have red, we have fuchsia, and we have pink. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to go through like I do with each element here. I'm putting red in the middle of each of the flowers. Right in the centers, and in fact I see like a little peekaboo one right here. I'll put some red there, red here in the centers. All right. Quick way to work around and around when you're doing your work. Just get this thing filled in nicely, quickly, and cutely. All right, so we have this nice bold red centers. And now I'm going to start working out with some fuchsia. I'm using that larger round brush, of course. And now I'm just going to pick some of the fuchsia up and begin working into the petal areas. Kind of make sure you cut in directly into the red. You can let them blend together, of course. Have a little fun with that. Bring it out a little ways on the flowers, on those petals. Mine is quite translucent, so it works nicely for this kind of sweet, soft, blended look. And I'll work it out like this. I'll add some more red to this one. As you can see, I'm working really quickly right now. When we get to the individual petals, we'll kind of slow that down a little bit and focus a little bit more on the details, but right now I just want to get the centers kind of worked in cute and vivid. Okay, now I'm going to switch paintbrushes, and I'm going to pick up pink with the smaller of the filberts. And I'm just blending fuchsia right into the pink. Gives it a little color variation, makes it look sweet, a little blend, darker toward the centers. You can see now where that's going. Now you get where I was going with that. I'm also going to hint to, in any shadows, I'm going to put some more fuchsia. Just tuck that in between things and where their shadows will be. Again, just quick work it through. And remember, you can always pause this. I'm working fast to get through because I'm attempting to keep my video time a little bit shorter, but you take your time, pause wherever you feel like you need to. This is your process. There we go. fuchsia and go back. A little cross blending into the petals. Sing to your paintings. La 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 la. Painting on our flowers. Dee doo 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 doo. There we go. Just adding a little extra fuchsia to this while I get started. Helps with the blend. Funky, chunky little flowers here. I'm tucking red into some of the in-between areas as well, just for the fun of it. Gives it a little more drama, makes it look really cool. Just coming back out here where I see like I need a little bit more work on the petals that are drying on the outside here. Just a little bit more. That's good. I'm doing each one a little bit differently too, so they're not all exactly the same color pattern. You can kind of play around with that. The idea is make them look cute and funky, have some fun with it, really mush the paint around, get a little messy, have some fun. reached the last flower that I need to get the main details on, and then I will go back and do one more little thing to it, just to give them a little bit more pizzazz. I'm mixing up a light pink now with a hint of fuchsia to it as well. Just kind of play around with it till you get something you really like. A little bit lighter in tone, and then I'm going to come back out here and start putting some highlights and work a few highlights on some of these petals. I'm leaving some raised texture visible on these flowers too, so really don't be shy with that. Have some fun, work up the texture, be a little bold and creative with your brush strokes, as it fills them in nicely, quickly, and they look really great. They pop, they catch the eye, they're funky. And then for a final step here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some violet. We have violet. And I'm going to just catch a bit of violet and work some of that into some of these too. Kind of like a soft, shadowy little, with a touch of water, and it's going to really, really make these look pretty. Make sure you have a touch of water in your paint. You don't want to overdo the violet. Once I get the violet in place, then I can go back and again blend them slightly. Maybe a touch of pinky pink, little fuchsia, have a little fun with that. I really like the way the violet gives it a nice shadow. very stylized, a little abstract, very fun. Really get wild with this one. Now I'm going to just see what happens here with a little violet and a little fuchsia. And it's gorgeous! A little violet, a little fuchsia. I'll just go run one more little time here and work some of that onto some of these petals. A few fun places, just for accents, you know, we're just playing around here. Now we're just having fun with it, you know, be playful, make a little bit of a mess. Still keeping your forms there, of course, but really just experiment with this technique. I'm pouncing a little of that mixture I've made too with a little extra violet into the centers of the flowers, giving them like little pollen centers that are a little bit darker. More fuchsia. Fuchsia is a good bridge between the violet and the pink, so if it looks a little unbalanced, just go back and take some more fuchsia and throw that on the pink. Going for wild, wonderful, tropical, vivid colors here. Anything I don't want that chunky or choppy looking, I just go back with the original pink. Just touch it up, put a few more streaks of that, soften it out, tone down some of the expressionistic look wherever I feel like I need to. You can do this too. And just get it right where I want it. All right, we have a beautiful lay. Now, very final steps here before we sign off. We need to do something with the background. So I'm going to dispense myself a little extra white for this step here. Let me grab my sky blue, my turquoise, just to make sure they haven't dried out. My paint tube. Now, just going to pick up a bit of white on the tip of my brush, and I'm taking my large filbert and I'm swirling, changing directions with the rounded curved tip of that, a few little clouds right in the sky here. You play around with the cloud shapes, have some fun with that, put some happy clouds in there. The more translucent, the more interesting and soft they look. You can add more pigment meaning picking up a little bit more paint as you go if you feel like you need a little highlight, a little pop color, and just some wispy, fun little clouds. Should, again, only take you a few minutes to do this. Takes you more than 5 minutes. It really shouldn't, is what I'm trying to say. You don't need to spend much time on these clouds. Just a few little wispies, little fluffs. Get them in place and moving right along. And then we're going to work on the ocean. What I'm going to do is add white to some turquoise. I still have some that's fresh enough to work with. We don't need much. Just some white to the turquoise, lighten it up. Add a little water to it to make a little bit of a wash. And I'm just going to, again, with a big filbert brush, using it on its tip, work in a little bit of ripple to the water. You can make them larger and more pronounced the closer you get to the front of the canvas. And there we have a very, very simple sky and ocean. Now, if you wanted to do something more fancy with it, you could, but I think it looks really cute the way it is. Very sweet, very, you know, expressionistic around the edges, stylized. I'm adding just a touch more of the lighter version of this with a tiny bit more white in a few places to add some sea foam. Just gently adding a little bit of a fleck of sea foam here and there. Same brush, using the tip of the brush again, guide it along. If it's too much, you can always work it back with the turquoise again. Pick up the original turquoise for the fun of it. I'm showing you how to add a little bit of definition and fun. This is the darker turquoise. That'll give a little shadow underneath the waves that you're putting in there. This is what I originally did. I added white too, so this makes it look really cool. Gives it a little pop, a little drama, makes it look great. And it's so fast and easy, so simple to do. Final thing you'll want to do is to add your initials or your signature to the bottom right hand corner. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the light pink on the tip of my paintbrush, and down here at a little bit of a jaunty angle I'm going to put my initials. Reapplying when I need it. Like so. Once you have accomplished this, and you are satisfied with everything, make sure you go back, take a peek, be sure everything's in balance, you know, take some time to just add a little final touches where you feel like you need it. If the fluff needs a little more fluff and your fleece, you can add a little more. Really make this your own, make it beautiful, have some fun with this, and remember to share it with me on social media. I love to see your work and share in the joy of your creative process. So please do get in touch with me. That's on Facebook at laystudio.class and on Instagram at lay_studio.class, hashtag laystudio class, hashtag laystudio classes, hashtag laystudio art classes. Please keep in touch with me, let me know how you're doing, ask questions if you feel like you need to. I'm here for you, love to see your work, what you're doing. I'm just adding some final embellishments here, a little bit of the original turquoise, just playing around with that slightly, make it look really, really cute. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson as much as I did. I had a lot of fun. And as I say, I'm just going back here and touching up a couple of little things I want to do here and there where the paint is dried back a little bit and I feel like I need to. Just play around with that a little bit more. Yeah, give that a little bit more of a pop. See how I touch things up if I feel like I needed it. So feel free to do that at this point. And then when you're done, you just want to make sure that you do proper brush care at the end of your class. Of course, rinse out your water cup really well, and then clean your paintbrushes very gently, massage the paint out under the water, and then reform them. You have to reshape them to their original shape and dry them brush tip up like a bouquet inside of your paint cup, so they dry nicely with a good tip and are ready for you to use for the next class. So you can see here I'm just playing around with that a little bit. A little bit of that finalized finished touch on those petals. It's something once they start drying you can go back and check, and I like it like that. And that, my dears, is just about where I am going to leave this one for the day. I hope you have had a wonderful time, that you treasure this painting, and that brings a little joy to your home for the season. I'm going to just pull this up to the camera view a little bit more. You can see up close. Do a little pano through. Like so. Scoot this back. So I can come and thank you again. I really appreciate your taking the time to study with me, and I really truly look forward to painting with you next time. Have a great rest of your day.